Scott, there's always, a danger coming off Friday night that physically with the short turnaround it would be tough to back up, and emotionally it might be a little bit tough to get up again. And the team did look a little bit flat, from the start today. And in fairness to the Wildcats, they really wanted to push it down your throat and play at a fast pace as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We don't have, any excuses. Every team has a bunch of games or a break, and then it's been a very, very choppy schedule. So I don't think they played in 7 or 8 days. 7 or 8 days, and then this is our 4th and I think 7. So, and then had that emotional ride we had the other night. But competing is competing, and give them credit. They were fantastic across the board, and just really did a wonderful job. Yeah, and we just turn the page and move on. There's no use harping on anything other than we get prepared for one more game. I know we have 5 or 6 left, and we just get some rest, which we definitely all need, and just get ready to go. And I brought Clinton here to take away from my terrible coaching and let him talk about 350 games. So he's actually my deflection, but yeah. It is what it is. Listen, you're on the mountaintop for a minute, and then you're back down in the valley, and it's just the nature of sports. And you enjoy the ride, and and our DP has got some probably unwanted exposure. But that's the difference of sinking and swimming. Also, with some of these young guys that got to go out there at the end of the game, and it was good to see them run around too. So, all good.
I'll get to you very quickly, Clint. With the way Bryce was playing in the first half, Scott, I know that you've tried to put plans in place to stop him defensively. You do your best defensively. I don't know if anyone could have done much more to stop him when he's feeling like that today. I mean, what did you make of what he did in the first half? Yeah, I mean, we've been in a buzzsaw here with these 2 guards. I mean, Davis was, special just, 48 hours ago, and was just wonderful on how he played. And then obviously Bryce, was cooking there in the first half and kind of just set the tone and made them comfortable. And, the shots that he was scoring are not ones that we can do much about because it's kind of in the open floor there and it's coming in transition, or it's been a reload on an offensive rebound. And when he's shooting at that kind of clip, there's not much you can do. I mean, he's a wonderful player, and the thing I love about him when I see him and watch him is he's just got this demeanor that is just incredible for someone that gets as much attention, and the way he goes about his business is just wonderful to watch. And I believe this is probably his best game he's ever had against us in 4 years, because we've usually done a relatively good job of getting the ball out of his hands. But give them credit again; they were really, really good. Yeah, absolutely. You touched on getting some run into the development players. What can playing 10 minutes in a game like that for Brody Nunn do? Say for Walter Brown, say for Archie. What can that do for them moving forward? Just to see what the level's like.
Well, as I told them, I said, back when I was playing in the NBA, you'd play 5-6 minutes at the end of a game on a kind of a lopsided score, and they would call that garbage minutes. But that's been disproven. It's actually life or death for you. And these guys got maybe exposed, also maybe got a really harsh lesson of being prepared and ready to go to seize the moments. And, professional sports are brutal that way. And so to have that kind of minutes in a team that's, fighting to be either in or out of the playoffs against a really good team, those are the ones you better take advantage of, because you just don't know when they come back around again. And 3 years ago, as I told them just before I came in, Shawnee Mack was in the same position, and we put him in, and he swam. And he hasn't stopped swimming since. And so you got to capture those moments. There's no thing, I believe, there's no such thing as garbage minutes. You have a chance to change a coach's mind in those minutes as a young player. And you either capture them or you let them slip through your fingers.
Clint, we'll get the negative stuff out of the way first. Just on the game today, like I touched on this, Scott, it was always going to be tough to back up Friday night. And with them fresh, not having played in 7 days and playing at the pace they do, you just looked out on your legs out there.
Yeah, I think Scott mentioned it just before. You ride the emotions of a win like that, and then you're straight back down to earth after a game like that, and they played very well. They shot the ball well. Our defensive schemes, they moved the ball out of the pick and roll situations well. Bryce got hot. We tried a few different things to get back on course, and it just didn't work. So full credit to them. They played a heck of a game. Our boys were going to rest, go back to practice, and head over to New Zealand with a new sense of urgency and belief that because we're right in the middle of this thing.
You take this result out of it, you get a chance to reflect when you get to a milestone like you reached today. And I still remember when you first came back from college, you start playing at Cairns and there's a lot of hype around this tall sharpshooter coming into the league, and now look what you've done over the next, 12 years now. Time flies quickly. I mean, does a milestone like this give you a chance to reflect on the journey that you've been on?
I'll certainly reflect on the journey. Might leave today out of it, but I think it's. Sometimes in life you get a kick in the teeth when you're celebrating something, but you move on. You take small wins along the way, and I've been very fortunate to experience a number of milestones along my journey with my family and these basketball clubs. So for that to happen today, when I'm playing 350, I'd rather it happen to me than one of the young guys earlier in their career. So I'll move on from it. We go on to game 351, and hopefully I can keep doing the same things I've been able to do since my first game in Cairns.
Majuk sat in that chair on Friday night, and I asked him about your milestone, and unfortunately, Scott, I didn't realise he was playing his 250th tonight as well, so I didn't get a chance to ask him about it. But Clint, can I just get your thoughts on Juk and how big he's been since he came to this club? He was huge in the championship run last year, and now without Will, he's stepping up the last couple of weeks too.
Absolutely. Juk is he's certainly one to put a lot of pressure on himself, but he's able to deliver in the big moments, and he's such a passionate guy, such a passionate player, wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a team first guy, and ever since he's been with us, he continues to grow, and as a person, as a really good basketball player who's, like you just mentioned, last year he pulled us out of some holes and got us some massive wins in the postseason. So Juki's a wonderful guy, wonderful player. Teammates absolutely love him. I love him. Actually, I think my kids love him even more. Tough 250 for Juki, but I know he'll move on and be back to his best.
Scott, it's been a massive week for milestones, and what stands out to me when you look at Ruben, you look at Clint, and you look at Majuk is that you've always talked about it's character first when you bring guys to this club, and there's probably no three better examples than those three guys.
Well, listen, I think the other thing with character is that you stumble along the way and you get knocked down, and you are able to pick yourself up, and you have bad moments in your life, or you have bad games, or you have bad sequences, and you're able to just be able to get back up again. And that's really a big part of character, and being in different teams and winning sometimes and losing other times, and off the court issues you may have or not have, and getting second chances in the fight. And our guys across the board are in general like that, but those three guys obviously are wonderful examples of just, trying to get to do the right thing by their families and in their lives. And I've said this obviously the other day, but this guy next to me it means the world to me. And to go on this journey with him from day one has been hugely special for me, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. And he's just been a wonderful human being and a great leader for our club.
You've talked about this a little bit over the last 4 years, but when you were with him in Perth, what was it about Clint that you saw that made you want him to not only be part of this Tasmania journey, but that made you know that you wanted him to be the captain?
Yeah, I think the big thing with me is, at that time, in my short stint there, they had a lot of alpha dogs over there, like Damian Martin and Wagstaff that were older and really well-seasoned players that have been there. And those guys were the leaders, and Bryce is a leader by example. He doesn't have the verbal spewing that can come out of some other guys. But with Clint, I just saw his professionalism every single day and how he shows up to work and how he leads and how he, was with his wife Kayla. And I just felt that there was something else there, and he just needed to have that moment. And, when you're deferring to those kind of really, really good players and those guys that having those type of careers, that's what he did. He was just on board and always doing the right thing. But I thought there was going to be something more that he was going to be able to offer. And as I've said before, it happens to be Perth today, but I wouldn't have this job if it wasn't for Perth. I wouldn't have the job and the luck that I've had here without being in Perth and watching these guys work and taking a few guys out of there and the culture that was there with Jack Vendette and the group. And so to get him out of there, and my hope was that he would be voted captain, and that sure is what heck happened, and the rest is kind of history for us here.
Thanks very much, guys. That's all from me.
Thanks, Chris. All right. Thank you.